Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K collector. First of all, I want to say a huge thank you to all of those of you who commented on my last video. If you saw the last video, you'll know that I'm in the process of boxing up my collection because I'm going to be selling the bulk of my collection. And, I saw a lot of comments roll in on that video. And I just wanted to take, a quick moment to just kind of just address a few things, which I think will hopefully help someone else who might find themselves in transition. Um, so first off, this is all being done based on an opportunity that I have to make a move that I've always wanted to make. Um, Sometimes you can run into an opportunity and sometimes you're pushed into an opportunity, and life just has a way of kind of steering you. But the one thing that's constant is if you are consistently working on yourself, if you're consistently just working in general, if you're continuously putting yourself in position to uh, be in a better position, no matter which route you have to take, as long as your eyes are on the prize, you're going to get to your final destination. And so for me, selling my collection is a necessary part of me getting to that final destination. Um, you know, as I've mentioned, when you're moving around, when you're in transition, sometimes it can be difficult, right? If you are making moves, having to have a large collection as you move around, especially if you're moving around the country, it's not easy, right? It's not an easy thing to do. And I am not the type of person who will have a collection and box the collection up and put the collection in storage and let it just sit in storage until I'm able to get to it again. That's just not where I'm at. If it was a situation where I felt like I was going to be able to kind of move and, unbox the collection and, put it back up and display it and stuff, then maybe that would be a move that I would make. But unfortunately, that's not the position that I'm in. It's a transition, and I'm taking a chance and I'm betting on myself when it comes to just certain aspects of my career and just even in my personal family life, right? There's certain things that I want for my family that I'm gonna have to work hard at making happen. Some of um, I'm based in one of the colder parts of the country, right? So, um, when you live in a cold city, when you live in a Boston, a Philly, a New York, you know, any, Minnesota, when you live, or Chicago, when you live in parts of the country that get real cold, sometimes it can be tough. It can be tough when you want to, kind of get your kids involved in activities, and have them, do certain things, play certain sports. And it's not to say that you can't get your kids into sports if you live in any one of these cities, but for certain things, it's easier when you're living in a part of the country that for the most part is warm all year round, right? So if you're in Florida, if you're in California, if you're in Arizona, when folks live in these states or in these places, it kind of makes life a little bit easier. You know that pretty much all year round, you'll be able to go for a stroll through a park. You'll be able to play outdoor sports. You'll be able to do a lot of things that, in a place like New York, or like I said, Philly, Connecticut, Chicago, if you're in one of these cities, pretty much by the time November comes around, you're shutting it down. You're going to be indoors because it's going to be cold for the next 4 to 5 months. You're going to be experiencing cold pretty much November, December, January, February, March. And if you're lucky, maybe you can get through April without it being too cold. But I've remembered, Aprils where we're getting hit with, 2, 3 feet of snow. So that's a big thing. It's a big thing. It's an important thing. And like I said, when you have a family and you get older and you start thinking in terms of your family and what you want to do for your family, and how you want to navigate, your family, it these things come into play now. I remember being a younger dude, and when you're younger and you're single and it's just you and you only have to consider yourself when you're making life decisions, it's easy to do a lot of things. But once you start having children and a family involved, you have there's a level of selflessness that comes into play, and you can no longer just think what makes me happy. You have to think, all right, what's the best move for my family? Um, and so that's where a lot of this stems from. It's stemming from an opportunity that I'm really excited for. It stems from me taking a chance and betting on myself and my family. And it also stems from being able to put myself and my family in a better position for us to have a better overall quality of living and be able to have more opportunities to just do other things. So, but I appreciate everyone who's, kind of expressed, you know, um, just left comments on that last video, and I've been meaning to get into it, but as you can see, there's a lot going on right now. I'm trying to sort through all of these games and kind of get them all situated. Um, I'm just actually going in and just trying to put together an inventory for all these games. Um, but yeah, I appreciate everyone who's kind of jumped in and had some positive words to say. Um, and I've also seen the comments from those of you who have been, who support the channel. I've gotten a lot of comments from people saying, "Hey, Y2K, with or without the games, we're still going to support the channel." There's a lot of people who maybe you started watching my channel for the games and then you just stuck around for my random rants and rambles, and I appreciate that. For me, uh, the plan during this time is to, it's going to be an adjustment. It is going to be, like I said in my last video, maybe a little bit of a change up to how I do the content, um, maybe some of the topics. And hey, we're going to lose subscribers. I may lose subscribers. Some of you may tune out. And if you do, I get it. I get it. I've seen the comments from people who said, man, I joined this channel when Y2K did a lot of Switch content. Man, I miss Y2K Switch content when we used to talk about Switch games and put us up on all the new Switch game pickups and stuff like that. And I miss those days too. You know, I miss those days too. I tell people all the time, I first started this channel um, during the pandemic, right? So this channel was created during a very dark time, not just in my life, but in a lot of people's lives. We were isolated, we were alone, and we've been able to get through the last 5 years together. You know, we've been able to make it through COVID together. Um, I've lost family members since starting this channel. My father died during the time I had this channel. I've had grandparents pass away during the time that I've had this channel, and I've been open with that on this channel. And in each major life event, there have been people, members and subscribers of this channel, who have kind of just dropped a little, note, left a comment of support. And those comments, they help, man. I'm not a sappy dude. I'm not about to sit down here and start crying and all that jazz. Um, but I feel I'm not a robot. I'm not an avatar. I'm not an NPC. I like, I'm a real human being. And so, those things, they matter. You know what I mean? They definitely, uh, are a help. You know what I mean? So, uh, for those of you who have stuck around and have been here during this time, I think that this is just kind of an exciting inflection point in my life and for the channel. Um, I do foresee things changing. The phone that I normally do this on has been having some issues, so hopefully I'll be getting a new phone soon, and with a better phone and a better camera. Um, I plan on getting out there and getting footage of just some of the things that I'm doing, and like I said, more edited type of content, more of that coming about. It's gonna be hard to get the edited content going like right away, just because, as you can see, like I said, I'm in the process of inventorying the collection and pulling things off the shelf and pricing stuff out and making sure that I'm accurate with what I've got. And um but but I am keeping a handful of games. So I got a few comments saying Y2K don't sell everything. A few of you have said keep the bangers, you know. And I don't know if I'm gonna necessarily keep the bangers, and I'm assuming when people say keep the bangers, I'm assuming they're saying telling me to keep the most expensive games. I don't plan on keeping the most expensive games. If it's a game that was really hard for me to get, like I've never seen it in the wild and I can't find it online, and I know that when I restart my collection again, it's gonna be a game that I want as a cornerstone. Maybe I'll consider those, but um, whoever gets this collection is getting a lot of heat. I was just gonna say, they're whatever truck they put these games in is gonna be smoking all the way back to wherever they're going, because it's definitely gonna be a lot of heat. Because that's really what my collection was. I tried to keep my collection pure. Pure. I tried not to dilute it with too much fluff and junk. And so, hopefully wherever all this stuff lands, hopefully it lands in the hands of, folks who will cherish it and really appreciate these games. So, um, but like I said, this is an exciting time. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Don't feel bad for me. Like I said, this is all being born out of an opportunity that I've been waiting for a long time, that I've been trying to act on for a long time. And now is a time when I'm actually able to take action. And I knew, I knew once this moment came that I would not be able to keep my entire collection, And so where I'm at now is I really just have to condense everything I'm keeping down into one box, one large box, but I'm gonna try to condense all the games that I decide to keep into one box. And if they can all fit in one box, then that's what I'm gonna keep. Everything else will be going out the door, and it's going to be boxes and boxes of games. I mean, just based on where I'm at right now, I anticipate a lot of boxes. Not as many boxes as Gamer's Manual. Whew. They had to back up they had to get an extra large U-Haul truck for his collection. So it won't be that many, but it will be a box. It'll be a decent size haul for whoever grabs it. So look, hopefully you guys are having a great weekend. I figured I'd just come in here and answer some of those questions, and say thank you to everyone who's joined the channel. And like I said, the channel, we're still going to talk about games. It probably won't be as much. We're going to get into real life content over here, beyond just video games. There's real life stuff happening. And I'm sure that some of the things that I'll be talking about moving forward, a lot of people will be able to relate to, especially men. There'll be a lot of things that guys can relate to. So if that sounds cool, stick around. If not, you decide to leave, totally understand it. Hopefully you find what you're looking for on the next video game YouTuber's channel. But until then, we'll catch you all in the next one. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.